So, as y'all know, today is indeed Wednesday, which means a new summit is now live here in Midfest. And with that, guys, we will have the V6 Mr. Car Sounds Alpha GP engine sound there as the platinum reward. For the next summit after that, though, you'll get yourself the Japanese Nitro, which looks, okay, I guess. We'll then have the sparkling silver smoke, which, yeah. And then after that, though, we will have the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. It's like the Carrera edition or something like that. As you can see, it's basically a reskin of the other one or has a package on it. I would say that's going to be a very sweaty summit. And then the final one, though, you will get yourself another underglow after that. But besides all of that, guys, looking at the summit here, if you are wondering, it is a mix of regular races and some multi-vehicle events. But the thing is, it is basically the same events we had in the game previously. The only difference, though, is you basically race a multi-vehicle on the same track that you would normally use one vehicle on. So, yeah, the first one here, though, is a rally race, guys. As I said before, this one will have the exact same thing to it. You basically use the Audi on it. You have to use the same vehicle twice, basically halfway through. You switch it. And that is kind of it. There's nothing too insane with the race. Nothing besides that. You basically, beat it as fast as you can and move on, bro. Isn't that amazing? But besides that, though, the next event here is a vehicle-owned Street Tier 1 event where you will end up finding yourself using the lovely VolksWagen Beetle, guys. You will definitely recognize this event. The biggest thing is there is a few cuts in this one. The first one is right by the starting line of the race, and the second one is kind of towards the end. To be real, they're very hard to miss. The biggest thing I can recommend with this car is to be careful when you're turning it off-road because it will lose itself completely if you try to spin it or turn it too quick while going asphalt to off-road. So, yeah, do be careful on that one. But besides that, though, we'll then have a circuit event here in an Alpha GP vehicle. Nothing too insane with this one. Basically, go as fast as you can. Be very careful with your overall nitrous management on this one. Keeping that speed up. Do not be afraid to really push the car around the corners because honestly, it will grip. So you could probably be a tad faster than you really think you could be. Besides all of that, though, moving over to the next event is Loud and Proud, and for this one, you will once again have to use the Audi RS1 looking thing, or whatever that rally car is called. It kind of tells you how much I remember using it, as I already forgot the name, but this is on the Redbull racetrack. It's a very simple event. There is a minor cut in it, nothing too insane, though, but you can kind of cut into where the corner is and then drop down into the dirt area. But if I'm being real, though, you will easily recognize this race because we have done it a good amount of times in the past, so it's probably not all that shocking. The next one, though, after that is a Street Tier 1 multi-vehicle race. As I mentioned before, you will have to use the Beetle in this basically twice. You use kind of a regular version of the Beetle than the upgraded one you saw in the other event, and you will have to go around the exact same track basically twice, guys, getting your fastest lap each time. So again, it's nothing too shocking here. You basically drive the same vehicle and do the same race. It's not like a crazy race or anything. But the other one after that, though, is an Alpha GP. Once again, a multi-vehicle race driving the exact same vehicle on the Hanauma racetrack, which we've never been there before. Am I right? But this one really doesn't have anything insane either, man. There's no tire grip or anything like that. Basically jump in and, yeah, that's kind of it on that one. Besides that, though, guys, we'll have another Audi S1 rally event here for this one. You kind of have to drive the car around the mountain and muddy areas. It's actually one of the off-road races you originally have to use with a motocross bike. I will admit, I really wish we could actually have more rally and off-road races in the game, man. It's insane. I feel like we never get anything off-road, bruh. And now we have to wait till, what, Season 10 for that, man? Way too late. But either way, though, this event is fairly simple. The biggest thing is be careful in the mud, watching out going down the mountain and not spinning the car in midair, because if you do that, bruh, you are most likely cooked. For the next event here on the bottom, though, this is obviously with the VolksWagen Beetle again, and this is also on one of the Porsche events, guys, so it's basically a circuit race. Go around it a few times, and that's kind of it. Again, you will easily recognize this one. The biggest thing I can say with this Beetle is be careful in basically every event you do with it. When it comes to the cornering, make sure you guys brake earlier, not later, because if you simply do that, you will end up finding yourself running into multiple walls. Ask me how I know, but many players might notice that with the braking on some cars being kind of terrible. The final event here, though, in the summit is going to be one of the Trackforge events. I gotta admit, guys, it's an okay race. Wasn't the biggest fan of this. It's only a minute and 15 seconds, or around a minute, so it's obviously very quick. The one thing I did notice, though, is the loop-de-loop type of things that you'd see on, like, the Hot Wheels thing in Forza. This game really messes up the way the cars handle, I think. They're a little bit wonky, but overall, though, bro, this event is very simple, guys. For the most part, you have a pretty easy summit to do with a Mr. Car Sounds vanity item, which I would say a lot of players might end up wanting the engine audio thing, as these seem to be more sought after than some of these nitros and yeah, smokes. But either way, though, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Let's jump right into it.